The docking bay of Station Kepler 442 hummed with the usual chaos of interstellar commerce. Cargo haulers shouted in a dozen languages, both human and alien, while the acrid smell of fusion exhaust mixed with the sweet scent of exotic spices from the Andromeda trade routes. Kevin Chen stood at the edge of the platform, his weathered hands gripping a datapad that displayed another rejected mining contract, 37 standard years old, and he had nothing to show for it but a small salvage ship and a reputation for being too honest. In a sector where honesty was a luxury few could afford, the other prospectors called him Saint Kevin behind his back, never to his face, because even saints had their limits, and Kevin's fists had proven that more than once. He was about to head back to his ship when he saw her. She sat on a worn traveling case near Dock 23, her vulpine features unmistakable even from a distance. The Vulparen were rare this far from their homeworld, a species humanity had encountered only 15 years ago. During the first deep space expeditions beyond the Orion Arm, they were elegant creatures, with fur that ranged from russet to silver, elongated faces that somehow managed to be both alien and beautiful, and eyes that held an intelligence that had humbled humanity's assumption of superiority. This one had fur the color of autumn leaves on old Earth, with streaks of white that Kevin's grandfather would have called distinguished. She wore traditional Vulparen robes, but they were travel-stained and hung loose on her frame. Her ears, large and expressive, were pinned back in what Kevin had learned was a sign of deep distress. "Hey, you okay?" Kevin approached slowly, keeping his posture not. The Vulparen looked up, and Kevin saw that her amber eyes were wet. "I am adequate," she said in flawless galactic standard, though her accent carried the musical quality characteristic of her species. "Thank you for your concern." Human Kevin glanced around. The dock was emptying as the evening cycle approached. "You waiting for someone?" Her ears flattened further. They have decided not to come, family. A prospective mate." She stood, brushing off her robes with a dignity that made Kevin's heart ache. "I am Jasmine of the Silver Forest clan. I came here as part of an arranged bonding, traveling 3 months across the sectors. When I arrived, my intended took one look at me and declared me too old for his tastes." Her laugh was bitter. "I am 34 standard years. Among my people, I am in my prime. Among humans, I understand this is also not considered elderly." "Not even close," Kevin said, anger rising in his chest. "Let me guess, he was looking for some young thing he could mold." Jasmine's ears perked up slightly. "An astute observation. You are familiar with such individuals, familiar enough to punch a few." Kevin ran his hand through his hair. "Look, I don't mean to pry, but do you have somewhere to go? Someone to contact? My family has invested everything in this union. If I return unwed, the shame will—" Shane trailed off, looking away. "I cannot return. I will not." Kevin made a decision that his rational brain screamed was insane, but his gut insisted was right. "Marry me." Jasmine's head snapped around so fast he heard her neck pop. "Excuse me, marry me. Right now." Station Kepler has a universal bonding office that recognizes both human and Vulparen unions. We go there, we file the paperwork, and you don't have to go home in shame. Kevin held up his hands. "Before you think I'm some kind of creep, let me be clear, this would be a legal arrangement, nothing more. You'd have your own quarters on my ship. No expectations, no obligations beyond what the paperwork requires. You would do this for a stranger." Jasmine's tail, which Kevin only now noticed, wished in what he hoped was curiosity rather than aggression. "I've been alone in the black for 5 years, Kevin said quietly. "I've got a ship that's too big for one person, a route that's profitable enough for two, and honestly, I'm tired of eating reconstituted protein alone in the mess hall. You'd be doing me a favor." "Humans," Jasmine said, shaking her head, but she was smiling, a strange expression on her vulpine features, but unmistakably warm. "You are all quite mad, aren't you?" "Probably. Is that a yes?" She picked up her case. "It is a yes, Kevin Chen. Though I suspect we are both fools. Best kind of people to travel with." The bonding office was a small, sterile room overseen by an AI that spoke in 17 languages simultaneously. The ceremony took 15 minutes. Kevin provided the genetic sample and financial guarantees required by human law. Jasmine pressed her paw to the bioscanner and recited the oath of the Silver Forest clan. When it was done, they were legally bonded under both human and Vulparen law. As they walked back toward Kevin's ship, the tenacious Jasmine spoke. "You should know, Kevin Chen, that among my people, a bonding is sacred. Even an arrangement such as ours carries weight. I will honor it truly." "Same here," Kevin said. "And for what it's worth, 34 isn't too old. It's just right for knowing who you are and what you want." Jasmine's tail curled in what Kevin would learn was contentment. "I wanted adventure, freedom, a chance to see the galaxy beyond the expectations of my clan." "Well," Kevin said, keying open the airlock, "you married a salvager who once told a sector magistrate to shove his mining taxes where the sun doesn't shine. I'd say you're going to get all three." She laughed, a sound like wind chimes in a storm. "Then perhaps we are not fools after all." As the Tenacious lifted off from Dock 23, neither of them knew that this impulsive decision would lead to them becoming legendary throughout the sector. The human and the Vulperin, who proved that the best partnerships weren't born from careful planning, but from the courage to extend kindness to a stranger at a dock. But that story would come later. For now, Kevin showed Jasmine to her quarters, taught her how to work the coffee synthesizer, and introduced her to the ship's AI, who immediately began addressing her as co-captain, and for the first time in years, neither of them felt alone.